I do have another treat for everybody. I have Judge Wendy, and she's going to be talking about the Firearms Technical Assistance Project. Judge Wendy has been a full-time city judge, city court judge for 17 years. Since 2012, she has presided over a dedicated domestic violence court. In 2017 and in 2023, the court was named a National Domestic Violence Mentor Court by the Office of Violence Against Women, and I give you accolades on that. In 2022, the court was one of 12 locations in the country to receive a firearms technical assistance grant from the Office of Violence Against Women, Department of Justice. Without further ado, we're going to have here for a few minutes from Judge Williams.
Thank you all for having me and hosting me. I really excited to be included. I'm not sure I should call it a treat, but I appreciate the time that you're giving me, and I really appreciate that Lance from the very beginning has included us in this project, because I know it's not primarily about domestic violence, but the more you read about domestic violence, the more I see the people who come in front of me, is that same subgroup of violent offenders who are also committing acts of domestic violence. They're violent in their homes and they're violent out on the streets. And so I think talking about domestic violence for a few minutes is appropriate in this setting, and that's why we're coming along with this project, because we have this firearms grant. So I just, for example, we have been keeping track of the people who are attending my program right now, and 95 of them, 33 of them are in custody with carrying concealed with violation of being prohibited possessor crimes. Like 95 of them have either in their past or right now they're in custody for what we would consider violent crimes. Lots of them with firearms, others are like robberies, assaults. We've got 2 people charged with murder that also have domestic violence cases. So I think it's relevant that we're talking about guns in that setting also, because I think we're talking about that same group of people that don't hesitate to be violent in whatever situation they're in. The statistics certainly bear that out, you know, that an intimate partner who is in a situation where there's access to a firearm has 5 times more likelihood of being killed because of that. So let me just explain, and then I asked Harper from Emerge to come up and kind of finish it off for me, because we do everything together basically. DD court wouldn't be DD court without having victim advocates there and having that partnership with Emerge, because it's really important to us that victims be connected to victim services. And so Anna helps us with that. And I think that's going to be the part that we can ask the community to help us with too. But what our grant is about is increasing surrender, enforcing court orders. When I tell someone they need to turn in their gun, I would like them to do that. And so, but that's really hard in Arizona. When you issue a protective order in Arizona right now, you can say, don't possess any firearms, turn any firearms you have in, but there's no enforcement mechanism at all, and no one follows through. So to me, I'm always worried about the message we're sending to victims, and right now the message we're sending is, well, we can write this piece of paper, but nobody's going to follow through with that, right? So to me, it's about procedural justice, about people being able to trust the system a little more. So we're working on processes where if we tell someone to turn in their guns, we're going to have a process to follow through so they understand they're going to be accountable. Same thing with people who have their cases in my court, criminal cases. Possession of firearms, we're going to register you as a federal possessor. So you can't, I know most people don't go buy guns at gun stores, but if you try to, you could. We're gonna be, and the beauty of it is we have a lot of partners, and so a lot of this is that communication, like the police will know, and they're working with us, and we have the lieutenant here who's, really helping us and working with us on how we're gonna get more protective orders served when there's guns involved, and how we're going to make sure that these things don't fall through the leaks. But like I said, I want to ask Anna about there too, because a lot of the times the system isn't going to be what's going to keep people safe, right? There's a lot of, and I think the community is a big part of that.
Thank you, Jen. I also am really grateful to be here and for the leadership to create this space and have this dialogue. When I think about the statistics that you just heard, when I think about people being 5 times more likely to be killed where there's violence happening in a relationship and a firearm exists, when I think about the fact that Black women are 3 times more likely to lose their life as a result of domestic abuse than white women are, when I think about the fact that domestic abuse is the leading cause of death for Black women, the states are high. When I think about the fact that Arizona doesn't have laws that allow us to enforce orders telling people to surrender their guns, when I think about the numbers of young people being harmed by guns, I reframe it to be an illustration of the amount of suffering in our community. So when we think about it that way, then it makes sense that the solutions ought to come from a place of love and community. And so the Village program, I think, is an example of that. It's innovative, it's outside of the box thinking, but it's necessary. We know that the system can only do so much. That work is important at the court to develop new procedures. We know that not everybody feels safe calling law enforcement. We know that the court system is not always accessible to everyone. We also know that emerge is not always accessible. So we have to have partnerships that are community-driven solutions. We know that where there are safe places in the community, people who are at risk of being harmed can find safety. And so all of that to say, our project obviously is really focused on domestic abuse, and there's an overlap, there's an intersection. A lot of the young people running around with guns are coming from the homes where domestic abuse is present, and that's a manifestation of their pain. So we're tied, we're invested in the success of this program. It's our collective success, and our community's healing is on the line. So with that, I'm really grateful to be here, and I just encourage folks to get involved in any way that you can.